Hello and welcome to another Warcraft III audio commentary slash shoutcast slash my coverage of an awesome game. That's what this is. It's an awesome game. It's on ladder. And when I say ladder, I actually mean the private W3 arena ladder that is actually going on. You can check that out. There'll be a link in the description if you'd like to actually find out more information about it. But essentially, it's a really cool private ladder that's been done. All the games are played on host spots, so there's really no delay. The player skills, there's a lot of really good players playing there. So if you want to play some games that are really nice, this is the place to go. It's awesome. And so, yeah, this is an awesome game. Awesome game. I say it's an awesome game, and I mean it. But let's go ahead and introduce the players really quickly because I've kind of started a little late because there's no observers. This was a ladder game, so only 2 players, and the players spamming their rally flags kind of is loud. But anyway, so this is yAwS spawning as the pink human up here on the upper left part of the map, going Mountain King first, starting to do some militia creeping out here, right here on his green camp. And for his opponent, we do have Cechi spawning as the blue undead over here in the lower right part of the map. This is Turtle Rock. We do have a scout footman coming around here checking out this base. As you can see, it's a Ted Fiends build, getting that early Nerubium tower to deal with any scout footmen that try to come in and harass his acolytes. He does have the Death Knight, and that does have a Rod of Necromancy coming up here to now find and scout out. There's a Mountain King on the map. There's also a scout acolyte over there, so we knew that he needed to be on this side of the map, simply because he didn't see any human units running over to the humans, let's say, the other side of the map where the human is. So this is the part. I'm at a loss for words there. Sorry. But yes, I just wanted to go ahead and say all that. Plus, I want to say one more thing. Sorry about not getting an upload yesterday. Oh boy. Yeah, it's been not fun. Not good is what I would say. But getting all my content sorted out would be nicer. But so the problem is, as you can see, I'm gonna have to periodically click on and off of Fog of War because it's just we don't have any observer slots, which is never good, but whatever. So let's look up here. We're gonna see there is a scout acolyte. Now this scout acolyte is gonna go ahead and get some block off. Maybe nope, not gonna do so, but he is gonna scout that there's a bunch of militia running over this way. And if we look over here at the human base, we can see is now putting up a lumber mill, clearly going for the expansion right here. We do have some ghouls on the move from the undead player. Let's see over here. We does see a double crypt build. He could very easily be going for Ghoul Garg, which is quite effective versus a Mountain King first, because you have to deal with, well, there's a lot you have to deal with as a Mountain King player that you can't really do anything about those units. But we're going to go ahead and see the Garg units, the air units. We're going to go ahead and see actually the Death Knight trying to get the steal off, but not going to quite manage it with that coil. These are actually defended footmen. These militia are in here. Now we do see these the ghouls finally coming in to help reinforce. We do see that acolyte actually being used as a combat unit, a coil being used to take down a footman, and one of those creeps actually being stolen. We're going to see lots of these peasants actually getting lots of damage, and they're going to have to start running away right now. As you can see, looks a little bit like lots of them going down. How many have actually managed to get away so far? Looks like one might get away from this whole mess. That's going to be quite painful for this human to actually deal with. And of course, this is yAwS, if you forgot. Let's see. It looks like one peasant getting away. It's all so far. The rest are on their way, still running away. We're probably going to see at least one more getting through as well. But we do see a couple of these ghouls going down. Also, Mountain King getting dangerously close to level 3. There's enough mana for a coil, so he goes ahead and coils that one, gets that one down. It looks like this peasant also going to be able to survive, which will mean that we do have a total of 2 peasants out of, I believe, the original 7 that were over there, actually making it safely back to base. So that's been quite a trick for those peasants. And now we can see over here that one of these ghouls has survived from the original 4 with very low HP, then the one more over here at full HP, so that means 2 of them have died. Quite unfortunate for both players. Obviously, much more unfortunate for yAwS in terms of economy loss. Right there is quite painful for him. We're going to see he's trying to build up some towers. This is very important. As you can see, there are going to be gargoyles on their way out, and gargoyles are, of course, going to be really good at taking down towers that aren't currently built. Now, if these towers go down before they finish going up, then yAwS is going to have one hell of a time defending this expansion, so he needs to do that. Really, just getting these 2 gargoyles over here before these goes up will be the deciding factor in how effective this whole deal is. I guess you say deal. How effective this entire harass is going to be, how effective this expansion attempt is going to be. Because if the Gargs get here before these go up, and it doesn't look like they're going to, it looks like they're going to get here as these towers go up. But I might not, maybe not. No, they're going to get here a little bit early, just a little bit early. He needs to just take these down if he can take these down, and we'll see how fast they go down, but they can be repaired versus this damage. They can do so. The question is, will they go down or not? And that's going to be the question. Just the one arcane tower won't be a big deal, but the guard tower is actually going to go ahead and go up, and that's going to be the issue. Is there an arcane tower over here? Yes, there is, as you can see now. yAwS well aware of the danger that Gargs will provide without towers, and as towers are being built, now power building the towers in his base. Once there are 4 gargoyles up, getting a tower up is dang on near impossible. However, yAwS does have plenty of footmen right now. He does have, let's see, 7 footmen right here. They are, of course, defendable footmen. They have defend research upgraded. We're gonna see that Mountain King is getting multiple bolts off onto this Death Knight. The Death Knight trying to get out of here alive, buying a Boots of Speed. Now he's also going to not be able to pick up that Staff of Teleportation. The Mountain King goes ahead and picks that up first. Gonna be forced to TP out the Death Knight. And the question is, with all of these Gargs, he is up to 6 gargoyles. Is he going to go for the defense, or is he going to come over here and try to take out these towers, which will never make it to in time now, because he's been trying to pick off these footmen instead? And that, that's going to be a bit of an issue for Cechi as we go further on into this game. The fact that these towers are now up, but it has just the very threat of Gargs has indeed prevented this expansion from being built. More towers are necessary. Of course, once you have enough Gargs, you can take out towers. Because of course Gargs do a fair amount of damage, and they're just fairly good units all around. The problem is that once yAwS really gets to the point where he can actually fight against these gargoyles, there's going to be an issue. Now you do see that Mountain King at level 3 coming into the undead base. He's going to just go ahead and bolt one of those acolytes. We'll be able to kill it. Going to probably get a couple more bolts off before he's forced to leave, maybe 1 or 2. Actually going to go for a ghoul instead. Kills the ghoul. That could be a problem because he does need that wood. But let's see over here. We can see this is basically what's going to make it difficult for yAwS to get this expansion up is this gargoyle harass. As you can see, it just absolutely destroys these buildings as they go up. This town hall may not even be able to go up. It may be canceled right here, and it's very likely to see that. As you can see, it keeps moving farther and farther back. That HP bar does. It's very close, maybe 2 more volleys at this point. He's just going to go ahead and cancel it a little bit early. Going to go ahead and try to take out this gargoyle or this tower as it goes up. Could he do so? Yes, he could. Going to force the cancel, but now he's going to back off, and we're going to see these gargoyles now. They don't have any attack upgrades. Which is a little bit unfortunate. We do see that the undead is still at tier 2. He does have an extra acolyte now in his base just in case he gets another bit of harass. And it looks like he actually went ahead and closed off that base. Yes, indeed. That way the Mountain King can't actually run in there. We do see that Mountain King now is creeping out right here with these footmen. It's going to be scouted by this gargoyle. And the question is, yes, Cechi will come down here to try to deal with this. And he doesn't want to have those footmen running into his gold mine. He does not want that to happen, because if that happens, those footmen as well as the Mountain King could do a lot of damage. But if those gargoyles are right here, which it looks like they will be, then they're a significantly less threatening force. Now, we do see over here the towers are back on their way up, and those gargoyles are once again making their way to this side of the base. Hopefully, they'll be able to take out this guard tower before it goes up, if you're rooting for Cechi, and hopefully... But if you're not, then good news is that they're not going to be able to do so. They will, however, definitely be able to take out both of these towers. There's no way either one of these towers will go up. Now we do see a lumber mill being being built right there, and that is simply because these peasants are pretty much useless otherwise right now. But if they can go ahead and start to mine out wood in the meantime while they wait for that expansion to go up, then that'll be much better for them. And over here, let's see. Sorry. It looks like now that those gargoyles are actually at that expansion, we do see that yAwS has decided now is the time to run into this base. We do see a spirit tower is up, and that spirit tower is right-clicked on that Mountain King. Wants to kill the Mountain King. Will he be able to do so? He's actually got the Mountain King down to 5 HP. At 5 HP right here where this is. The Mountain King quite far from safety. There's no shop anywhere on the map for this Mountain King. And this is actually a fairly protected place. We're going to go ahead and see that shop being built right there. And it looks like Cechi rallying his units over here and using Alt just to check everything, and there you go. Maybe he was even pinging that just so he can hit spacebar quickly to micro his screen back over here. But either way, whatever the point is, let's see. Will he get the Mountain King? Could do. It's very, very close. Is it worth? It's probably worth suiciding, but gonna go ahead and suicide a couple of gargoyles into it and killing that Mountain King down to 4 gargoyles at this point. Not really ideal to lose that many gargoyles, but you did get a Mountain King that was level 3, and that's quite a powerful thing to kill. Now we can see over here, the issue is that these are masonry upgraded level 1 guard towers. We're about to see keep. There's the keep tech and the Mountain King on its way back out, and he doesn't have enough gargoyles really. He only has 5 gargoyles at this point. I think he only had 4 a second ago, but I guess I missed one. Indeed, he does have 5, so I think he had 7 gargs. which would mean he lost 2, but I feel like he lost 3 gargoyles killing that Mountain King. But whatever the case, the point is, right, we're going to see maybe one of these gargoyles getting some issues. As you can see, these guard towers are within range whenever the gargoyles try to attack that town hall that's going up. But the bigger issue really is just that once the ghouls, if there was a decent number of gargoyles, let's say there was 11 gargoyles, that's a pretty decent number. You take 11 gargoyles, a couple of ghouls, and your death knight, you can run in here and take out all of these towers very quickly, even if they're being repaired. And of course Cechi knows that, and of course yAwS knows that. And we used to see that happen on Terranus Stand fairly often, actually. Once, and I say fairly often, I'm trying to go ahead and remember, it was Stop, right? Who actually did this strategy, a really interesting strategy against Mountain King when it was really popular on Terranus Stand. That involved him creeping out and buying a staff, well, creeping out a little bit of the green camps, but buying a staff of teleportation with really good timing, moving some of his ghouls up. And he also did it against Warden players as well. It was actually quite interesting to watch. And I really haven't explained it very well, but I realize that's kind of going off on a tangent, and I don't remember it well enough, I guess, to continue talking. But either way, so I'm not going to worry about it. We do see a Lich on the way up, but there is a footman coming into his base. That Mountain King, will he be coming out very soon? Yes, he will. He's going to probably try to teleport down to this footman if this footman does not die. It looks like that footman's going to die, though. There are 2 spirit towers actually whacking on him, and get down he goes. We do see tier 3 being picked up for Cechi. There's a sacrificial skull right there, so we might see him actually decide to go ahead and expand that himself, and he very easily could do that. The expansion for yAwS is now up. yAwS, an entire tier tech behind. Going to go ahead and get a blacksmith out, working on some wood upgrades. He does need more wood, of course. He is definitely having a bit of an issue with wood. If we look at his resources, we can tell that he has 1 wood. So obviously he's having quite an issue with wood. He needs to get as much more as possible. Very, very far behind on wood, and that's going to be a bit of an issue for him in this game. Over here, we're going to see 1 footman trying to come in here and take out this haunted gold mine. Not going to happen. Going to see one of these footmen gargoyles actually getting coiled as that footman does go down. We do see this Mountain King now running across the map. I think he was going to try to come in here and cancel this if he could. However, the undead army did come. As you can see, there are 4, let's say that's 8 gargoyles right there, as well as a level 4 Death Knight and a level 1 Lich. There's Boots of Speed on the Death Knight. A bit odd to put Boots of Speed on your Death Knight instead of your Lich, because your Lich, of course, is very slow, but hey, whatever. And he does have level 1 Unholy Ore, which means he did pick up Death Pact, which is a good choice because he's going to have to deal with a lot of hero focusing, most likely because Mountain King first strategies have the ability to just do an insanely absurd amount of damage to undead heroes with a certain combination. You go, say, Mountain King, Paladin, Blood Mage, you banish your hero, your heroes all of a sudden are taking 66% increased spell damage and magic damage, which is really painful, and then you get bolted and Holy Lighted, and down you go very quickly. So that's something you need to worry about. But also, if you do get banished, then your Death Pact also heals you for more. So hey, double-sided thing, I guess. Now, we do see the Mountain King actually gone ahead and went over to this shop, picked up an Invo Potion, also picked up an Invisibility Potion, using that Invisibility Potion to walk over here through this area. There is a ward right here that can see him, in fact, so he has actually been spotted on the map. Will Cechi come over here to try to kill him? Yes, he will with these guards, but this expansion is going to go up. There's no doubt he can go ahead and kill both of these acolytes for sure, but running away that very low HP gargoyle does not want to get that bolted. But gonna bait the bolt with a coil at the same time. Really nicely done, and gonna actually manage to keep that acolyte alive. Really nice play right there from Cechi. Nicely done. And we're gonna see now that Mountain King is over here at this base, and he is just gonna go ahead and begin to heal back up and try to get back into the back of his base where he's kind of safe against gargoyle harass. Does not want to lose his Mountain King again to the gargs, so that would always be a little bit of a challenge. And it looks like now we can see these are the gargoyles. These are the undead army. Really, there's not a lot more to the undead army than this, really. He is, of course, banking up right now if we look back over to his resources. But once again, we can see yAwS still having a ton of problem with wood, as you can see. And in fact, I just want to quickly look and see, is he going for castle? He's actually is castle already, and I'm expecting to see at one of these to see, yes, indeed, the advanced lumber harvesting research also going being upgraded. And that's going to be an issue because he needs lots of wood. Now, we can see over here for Cechi, he actually is doing just fine in terms of both wood and gold. He is banking, and with this expansion, he can bank for some time, and that's really going to be the whole thing he's going to try to do here is bank as long as he can, and then push before the human can get up an army that overruns him. I don't know what he's actually planning to do, but that is going to be a great strategy if he goes for it, and it looks like he's gearing up for that. But we're going to see a triple workshop siege tank coming in, build coming in from yAwS. As you can see, he can safely go up to 50 sage food with siege tanks and just use those to harass this expansion should he want to. Of course, we do see Cechi doing a good job keeping extra acolytes around because, of course, when that Mountain King comes in to harass, you're going to lose units, and there's really nothing you can do about that. And let's see, there's a Sacrificial Pit as well right there. Sacrificial Pit, of course, is going to allow him to make shades, which he needs, of course, because if you're dealing against tanks, you got to know where they are on the map at all times, really. And the other question is, are we going to see a slaughterhouse? Are we going to see, though, a boneyard? Because that would be quite effective versus tanks. It allows you to slow them down, give you more time to actually beat on them before they can get to your base. Makes it much harder for them to run away as well, because you cannot actually slow them with Frost Nova, as they are immune to spell damage. Or I guess they're not really immune to spell damage. They're not. No, they're not. But because they can actually take damage from Breath of Fire, but you can't. What I was trying to say is you can't target them with like Coil, for example, or Coil or Nova. So there is that. They're not really immune to damage. They're just untargetable for the most part because they are mechanical. So most spells do require you to be targeting organic units. It sounds like we did just see a bolt and a holy light on a gargoyle. I might have missed that, but there was actually going to be seeing a orb of fire on the picked up on the Mountain King. Of course, it's a very powerful item, simply because it turns the Mountain King's attacks into ranged when attacking air units, and that's really the only thing he's got it for. He does do a minor amount of splash damage, but not a big deal. We do see some Frenzy Eagles and a Panda being picked up, and of course the Panda is being picked up for that Breath of Fire, essentially, and that's exactly what he's going to be using it for. We do see a Mate Wagon, of course, right here, doing a nice job blocking that Siege Engine, but also more importantly than that, he does, the Siege Engines do have fortified armor, and the the Meat Wagon will do extra damage to him. The only issue with Meat Wagons really is that occasionally when they attack, they do AoE damage to their own buildings, which is never really a great thing, but it's not a big deal either. So it's nice. You're going to have the Frenzy Ghouls, and you have to have a couple Meat Wagons at each base, and this is unfortunately going to cause Cechi to break upkeep. He doesn't have a choice. He has to break upkeep to deal with this. And as you can see, yAwS safely over here, still under 50 food, still banking. And this is going to be a problem for Cechi, because when you have to break upkeep and your opponent does not, that is just never good. It's really not good at all. It's a bad sign. And as you can see, just from the resource counts, you can see that it looks now yAwS is doing a little bit better in terms of economy than Cechi is going to be doing. The bigger problem is that Cechi's going to have a big issue with actually pushing into this expansion. He's almost going to have to wait for it to be outmined. But the problem is there that late game human army is actually going to be stronger than his late game undead army. So he's going to have to find some way to deal with that. If we look at these items, this is a level 4 Death Knight, about maybe 60% of the way through. Has some decently good items: Potion of Healing, Potion of Greater Mana, Potion of Mana, Pendant of Energy, Scroll of the Beast, as well as a Town Portal. Now we are going to see a Mountain King coming over here into this into Cechi's expansion, trying to take out this Meat Wagon. Going to go ahead and see some of these acolytes being used to repair this Meat Wagon that this Mountain King is attacking. We do have the Mountain King actually surrounded right now with a really nice. Surrounded by this obsidian statue. This paladin actually goes down to some focus, though, right off screen. I didn't see that. Quite intriguing. And we do have, once again, siege engines coming into the base, and we do have some, sounds like something might be going on down here. Nope, it's just a tank right there attacking. Well, it sounds, here's the other one. Here it is. I couldn't find it. I knew I heard another one, but up here on the Sacrificial Pit, and that's unfortunate because you don't really want to lose that. But he's not moving these siege tanks, or the Meat Wagons, if I can get the word out, to actually deal with that, which is unfortunate for him. He's going to go ahead and lose that Sacrificial Pit. However, Sacrificial Pits are fairly cheap. I believe there's something along the lines of 75 gold and 150 wood. Fairly cheap. It's expensive on wood, and of course Cechi is having a little bit of an issue with wood, but not really at the moment. As you can see, he has 600 wood and 1,000 gold. Now if we look over here to yAwS, we can see he is actually, again, he's breaking upkeep at this point. Gonna make some griffins. I'm gonna go ahead and make griffins, as well as flying machines and some more siege tanks. The siege tanks at this point do have their ranged attack upgrades. Siege tanks fairly good against Mass Gargs, because Mass Gargs simply cannot deal with that. We do have another Sacrificial Pit already up, actually, by Cechi, and of course you do want to have these up if you're dealing with it. It provides 2 or to really 3 advantages. One, siege engines have a harder time running into your base when they have to run through units, buildings, for example, which kind of provide big blocking AoE areas, and this is just nice to have. And that's essentially one of the biggest reasons to get these Sacrificial Pits up. They're very cheap, and if a siege engine does decide to attack that, it's not a big deal if you lose it, because the wood is much more renewable than the gold. You really don't have to worry about wood as much when you have just because you do have to have Frenzy Ghouls for dealing with these anyway. So we do have these Frenzy Ghouls, and that's really what we're going to see anyway. The big issue here is, Okay, my words. But yeah, so let me go back to what I was saying. So that was the big one reason. Those are actually the big two reasons. You know, it blocks, and it also is a fairly worth, you know, having them kill. But the third thing is that it provides scouting in two ways. It provides scouting, one, just by being a little bit farther out of your base, gives you a little bit more vision, you know, gives you a bit more blight. That's also nice. But secondly, it allows you to make shades, and having shades, of course, are also really, really important when dealing with this. Now, those are the big three benefits of just massing a couple of sacrificial pits around your base. And that's what we're going to see a couple more here. These are obviously for blocking, you know, and again, because they are 900 HP, much better for them to be attacking a sacrificial pit than your ziggurats. And of course, your ziggurats provide food. Now, the big issue that we're going to see, though, more than anything else, we do see actually a shade being picked off. Of course, the flying machines do give true vision, and we have 3 peasants walking in there, perhaps to go ahead and start making some sort of an expansion there. And you can see this is why the siege tanks are so good against these gargoyles. Of course, if he has a scroll of healing, which I don't see him having one, yeah, we're actually going to see these gargoyles going down. And in fact, we just see, I think we just watched every one of those gargs die. We did very quickly, and now we do see that the human army is actually quite a bit more powerful right now than the undead army. Is still making gargoyles, probably not the best choice right now, but of course those were already on the way out, so he probably isn't going to make any more. I would be surprised if he does. Nope, he's going to make more. Well, the issue is with making gargoyles at this point, I would say, is, I mean, they're going to be effective against Griffin Riders. They're going to be effective against flying machines, especially with the Panda. The problem is those siege tanks are just going to demolish them. As you can see, they do 15 to 18 damage, and they hit like 8 units or something that are in the air at once. I don't quite remember the exact number, but it's quite a few units, and as you can see, it just kind of barrages out, which is really kind of ridiculous. So he's going to have some issues there, but we do see, of course, if he can manage to find this, he can use those gargoyles very effectively at this expansion, for example, before it goes up. And we do see so many peasants actually being used to power build this right here. And that's Shade has actually managed to catch those. We do see level 5 on this Death Knight at this point, actually. Level 4 on that Lich, level 3 on the Panda. So he's got really, really powerful heroes to deal with this army down here. And as you can see, he's got great items. He does go ahead and pick up the Scroll of Healing. And he's going with the Frost Worm as well as the Destroyer. Perhaps that's why he wants to go with the Gargoyles. If he has a bunch of heavy air, he does. Then the light air does do a really good job of supporting the heavy air. One of those meat wagons about to go down, but not quite going down to that focus fire. And we need to get these siege tanks down really fast before he can really take this fight. As you can see, how many just missiles are coming out of those siege tanks? Absolutely crazy. The number of missiles coming out. Just going to maybe see, looks like, yeah, trying to kill these siege engines is not going to be an easy task. You can, of course, use your meat wagons. You should be using these ghouls. I'm not sure why he's not there. They come into the fight now, and it looks like that Mountain King going to take, I'm sorry, the Death Knight taking a little bit of damage, but not really a lot. This army really focusing on killing those gargoyles, which is, of course, better than killing the frost worms, because those gargoyles do a ton of damage, but the frost worms do slow, and they do provide a lot of utility beyond just damage. And we're going to see perhaps this Griffin Rider being picked off. Yes, indeed, down it goes. And now we should see the rest of these siege engines should both die, really, as well as this knight. And you might see that the Paladin might go down as well. He's very, very low, but you really just get the Frostworm to attack this knight. There he goes, and down it should go, and then he should also be able to go ahead and take out that siege engine if he decides to turn around. The bigger issue is that he's going to have down here are these towers going up. He could have just run straight down there right now, but we're also going to see this issue up here. We actually see 2 towers, as well as a siege engine, trying to deny this expansion for Cechi. So he's got lots of issues right now in dealing with the fact that siege tank play is really difficult. It provides a lot of map control, and this is going to go down regardless of what he does at this point. But so I feel like he should have came down here maybe instead of trying to go over this way again to save this expansion. I don't think he's going to be able to keep it alive. I say that. Maybe he will, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to, in all honesty. Maybe. We'll see. With that Frostworm, it might be enough. As you can see, it slows his attack. Is it going to be enough? It's going to be really close. But it is actually. So I take back. I stand corrected. That was incredibly close. I think this got down to about 10 HP. So wow. But it did go ahead and he did manage to keep that alive. So nicely done. The problem is that is that his opponent now has this expansion as well. That's a problem. That is a problem. We can see it looks like, if we look over here, we can see yAwS going back to 50 food. He wants to start banking up again. And the whole cycle continues, really. Because if we go back, we still see that Cechi is still in upkeep, and he doesn't really have a lot of a choice here. about being an upkeep or not. We do see level 5 on that Death Knight, level 5 on the Lich, level 4 being picked up just not too long ago on the Panda, and we do see level 3 on that Paladin, about to level 4 and level 5 on the Mountain King. Of course, the better items certainly are going to be on the undead heroes at this point. If you look, and you can see, of course, the Potion of Greater Mana, the Illyria's Flute of Accuracy, definitely a big deal when you have a bunch of ranged units. Of course, that only affects Gargoyle's air-to-ground attack, because their air-to-air attack is actually melee, so it's not going to actually be infected by the range. But, you know, for example, the Frostworm gets, you know, +9 and +10 on that, so quite a bit, and the Destroyer gets +2. You know, it also increases the Lich's damage. All of these things are good. All of these things are very good, and we're going to see this little army not really all that threatening. Of course, Cechi could really destroy that army very easily with his army. Much more powerful army. The problem is when it comes to large-scale combat, that's when we're going to see that Cechi is going to have some issues. We're going to go ahead and see one of those Gargs being picked off to a coil. I'm sorry, to a light and mountain or stormbolt combo right there. And now we're going to see Cechi surely coming in here and just killing this, because he could do that very easily. I'm not sure why he's not just going in. He could easily destroy this army. I don't know. I guess he just. I don't know why he's not. But okay, just lost 2 Gargs. I obviously didn't intend to lose those Gargs, but as they were being scouted, just scouting around a little bit there. You can see now we do see a fourth? Yes, a 4th gold mine attempt by yAwS, and it says she's going to make quick work of that. That's not going to go up. Yeah, this is a big issue for Cechi though right now. He's really got to deal with this. He's in upkeep. His opponent now is still not in upkeep, as you can see, despite this very nice large army, but he's not in upkeep because he's banking right now, and banking is just wonderful. As you can see, this is yAwS economy up here. 1,500 gold, 700 wood, just crazy amount to be not in upkeep with. And we can see over here for yAwS now going to have his expansion coming here, his unprotected expansion. Really, I'm going to have to start running away. As you can see that he's going to move his army in here. Will he finally engage this army? Because he could really steamroll over this army. He might lose a couple Gargs to that Bolt and Holy Light focus, but he will destroy this army otherwise. I mean, honestly, not even going to be close. I'm not sure why he's not willing to take these fights. I don't know, but now he's trying to take the fight. Of course, now we do see that this is going to be. He does need to get this Frostworm into this fight. Oh, his Lich is in a little bit of trouble now at the back. It does have a potion of potion of invulnerability. As you can see, it actually dispels her Frost armor, which is unfortunate. He needs to get this Death Knight back here so he can coil it. There's the coil, and now you can see him start to fight. Now, once this Frostworm gets a hold of anything, it's not going to be able to run away. But it can get staffed out. That can happen. Of course, the other knight will have to get a staff from the Mountain King, so the Mountain King will have to turn back around in order to get that one back out. Now we're going to see the rest of those 2 heroes running away. Maybe that's why he didn't want to engage. Maybe simply because he needs to get that Frostworm really close up with a nice AoE in order to actually do anything, or a nice Nova off. He needs his Lich to be in range, which I still don't know why that Lich doesn't have a Boots of Speed, because it's a rarely slow unit otherwise, and in these kind of chasing environments, it means he sold the Boots of Speed, because it's no longer on his Death Knight, nor is it on the Panda or on the Lich. And I feel like he would have been much better off having that on his Lich, because as you can see, the Lich fairly slow, with Boots of Speed about the same speed as the Death Knight, I think even a little bit faster. But anyway, down here we're going to see that Shade coming in and scouting one more attempt at another expansion from yAwS, managing to do a good job keeping his economy safe. But the problem is, like I've been talking about multiple times in this game, is that Cechi is in upkeep the whole game long, and that's just a problem as yAwS is over here banking right now. And you can see he's up to 22,000 gold or so, making a couple of siege engines to begin to do his harass again. And of course, every time he gets to do some more harass, that's going to be bigger and bigger issues for Cechi. One issue, though, with Cechi is that he went for this expansion. I'm not sure why he went for this one. This one only has 10,000 gold in it. As you can see, 6,000 gold left in that one, 2,500 gold left in that one. Of course, the main gold mines are expired. These right here, the middle gold mines, they have 15,000 gold in them, as you can see, which makes them far more valuable than any other gold mine on the map. So he has this one and he has this one, but he would have been better off with this one and this one. Of course, it would have been slightly harder to defend these two than this one and this one, but then again, with the workshops right here, these siege tanks have a very quick path into this. So there's always like issues. There's always issues. But like I said, the side expansions though that both players have right now, both players have one side expansion. It's not really worth all that much, but now we're gonna see. It looks like yAwS coming in here to destroy this expansion. Just gonna right click on it with those knights and that Griffin Rider as well as these two things. And this expansion is gonna go down. It's gonna be very hard for Cechi to really do too much about this. If he can just get in range of these bloody griffins, he'll be able to kill them, no problem. We're going to see it looks like, yeah, just getting staffed. Go ahead, taking out a knight. I'm going to force a TP as well, killing a knight. Was it worth losing your expansion over? Probably not, but yeah, not really great. You had to come up here to deal with these tanks, though, and it was just really good timing by yAwS, and always frustrating to deal with this sort of strategy when you're an undead player, because you know the human can come and just force you to go into different directions and then attack you at multiple places, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. I mean, the problem is that maybe if he had more meat wagons up here and some frenzy goals, he could have dealt with that without needing his army. But you know, then the yAwS could have sent his army, his siege engines down here and his army up here. You know, it's one of those things, but always a little frustrating no matter what you do.
The damned stand ready.
The best way around it is scouting and scouting. Of course, on a map like this where you can see this range really not very far, and as you can see, 3 siege engines now on their way, 3 to upgrades. Oh, that's going to be painful. With his army right here ready to come back in here. And we're going to see it looks like Cechi not wanting to lose his expansion again. Going to come over here, keep his army here, but the problem is he's not going to lose this expansion. Ah, how unfortunate for Cechi. Very, very frustrating to be dealing with this sort of strategy, but that is life, you know? It's life, and it's what you're going to do about it. Maybe going to pick off a ghoul, try to get one of these griffins down. It's going to get staffed out. Maybe get the other one. Nope, not going to lose, not going to get that one out. Going to see a Holy Light on one of these gargoyles, and it's going to force the Holy Light, the gargoyles back. I'm going to kill the entire expansion right here with just those 3 siege engines. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Ugh. That is frustrating to watch. Oh, it's frustrating. Now, these siege tanks will go down if they try to fight. They will go ahead and try to fight. But we see this expansion now going to be denied once again, perhaps. Nope, I'm going to see a TP in from Cechi. It's only going to take out two of those siege engines, but it's worth a TP. Gonna see a bolt and a Holy Light killing a gargoyle. Gonna see an Invul Potion being used on the Mountain King. Gonna go ahead and see, I believe, Divine Shield, yes indeed, being used on the Paladin. And he will be able to kill off perhaps another gargoyle if he wants to. Actually gonna see the Mountain King going down. Very interesting. Not expected. Was not expecting that. Might even see the Paladin go down right here as well. He's gonna be right by a shop. Divine Shield not gonna last terribly much longer, right? Yeah, 10 seconds to go on it. He's going to run into his base. He's going to try to say that this is the place where he's going to make his stand. Of course, these have actually been canceled. There are some towers we saw building there a second ago, right before all that started, but once the Mountain King went down, they got canceled around that time. I'm not exactly sure when. We do see this expansion has gone back up. We do see a meat wagon chilling right there. It's time really for, I think, Cechi to take another one of these expansions here. He needs to have more gold. He needs more gold supply. Now, if we look over here at yAwS expansion gold, once again, we can see it's up to 4.3k gold, 4.4k gold at 1,000 wood. Really, that's quite the amount of, that's a lot of banking. What that essentially means, you can see, is that out of 96 food, and he's probably going to go straight to 100 here fairly soon. Just making a scary, scary army with casters probably coming out of that, griffins coming out of the Griffin Aviaries, as well as knights coming out of the barracks. I'm kind of expecting to see mostly priests coming out for the casters, but probably a couple of sorceresses just for the slow. Not going to be a huge, and that'll help, of course, in really dealing with this army. But the big issue is that we do see 3-0 on these knights. I'm sorry, on these Griffin Riders, 3-2 on the knights, and of course the siege engines are also 3-2, so that's quite scary. But we do see that panda very, very close to level 4. If he can get level 5 on his, or I'm sorry, level 6 on his panda, that would be really nice. But probably not going to happen. We do see level 6 on the Death Knight, level 5, halfway through level 5 on that Lich, and very, very close to level 5 on that panda. So it's coming over here trying to take out some workshops. That would be good. Would be very ideal. And it does have siege engines, or I'm sorry, meat wagons, to help take out buildings if he wants to bring them. But he's, for example, I'm not sure what he did with them. I guess he's using them to defend his expansions a little bit. You can see a ghoul actually going down, another ghoul on its way back out now. And this is essentially, let's see, meat wagons on the way out. Spellbreakers, griffins, and knights. So that would also work fairly well. And yes, that's the army we're going to see. That's definitely the army we're going to see. And if we look down here real quick, let's see, is there anything coming on down there? Nope, nothing going on down that way. And we do see these siege tanks also on the way out. Siege tanks going to really make quick work of these gargoyles. It's going to be a problem for Cechi to deal with these siege tanks. And yeah, we can see yAwS up to 81 food out of 96, and for Cechi at 76 food. Of course, a lot of yAwS food currently is tied up in production, but it's on its way out, and it's going to be hard for Cechi to win this game just because these units are so upgraded and they're so powerful. And we're going to see now 3-3 on the knights and the tanks. And if we look over here at the upgrades, we only have 1-0 for Cechi's units, so that's a big issue. And of course, that's expected. Now we actually see a boost of speed finally being picked up for that Lich, but the problem is, and we do, the Khadgar has type of insights on the Panda as well, which just gives them a lot of mana regeneration, which is great. But the big issue here, more than anything, is that yAwS was able to spend so much time banking while Cechi had to break upkeep, and he didn't have a lot of choice because he just cannot deal with those siege tanks at the same food. When you have expansions, you just can't do it. It's just not possible, or plausible, I guess. I mean, it's possible, but it's just not. It's really far from plausible, especially when he took this expansion spot when the workshops were so close to that. I'm not sure that was really the greatest move, but you know, he had to do something. And of course, this would have also had its own challenges with defending that as well. So I don't want to make it sound like it's more important than it really was. It was just an unfortunate thing. We do see a bunch of towers going up over here at yAwS expansion. And while I would place yAwS at the advantage, I wouldn't say that yAwS has won the game just yet. I would say he's definitely at the advantage though. These gargoyles going in here to take out these Griffin Riders. Will he actually be able to kill them? He could actually kill them. He could actually win this game if he doesn't lose his gargoyles right here. These Dragonhawk Riders are actually out now. They do have that Frostworm in a shackle as well as a gargoyle. These will go down, I think. Will he be able to take out these tanks and these knights with that Panda now at level 5? He is now kind of in a surround, but he does have a potion of lesser invulnerability. Will he use it? Go ahead and use that. Yes, and he does. And this fight is really interesting, trying to get these gargoyles out of the fight, but they're actually a lot of them going to go down very, very quickly right there. You're going to see that Lich now in a surround at very, very close to level 6. Is going to pop that Invul Potion probably very, very soon. Yes, indeed, he goes ahead and uses it. Panda goes down at level 5, and the Mountain King is now teleporting out. Now, I would say Cechi definitely lost that fight. I mean, look at this army. Look at the ridiculous. It's very, very, very ridiculous. Very strong army here. There's really no unit combination that Cechi could go at this point that would really effectively deal with this. There's just nothing he can make that would really say, oh, I'm going to be able to deal with all of this, because you know, all of his air units are going to have a huge issue between the Dragonhawk Riders and the siege tanks. Mainly the light air, but really the heavy air is not going to be all that great either. Maybe if he had, like, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on like what he could make, because I don't even know. I know that I personally have played against this type of army enough times to know that it's kind of futile at this point. But maybe he'll pull something out himself that I'm unaware of and win the game. It's a possibility. He does still have money. Still has money coming in. This gold mine right here, of course, he does have plenty of acolytes right there. One over there, and he's just. But the problem is he's only down to 1 gold mine, and as we can see, yAwS right now is at 2 gold mines. That one's about to go down as well, though. But still, who knows? We're going to see that, once again, that Frostworm being shackled, and there's not a lot we can do. They're going to see those gargoyles trying to come in here and stop these riders from taking out the gargoyle. I'm sorry, the Frostworm, but the Frostworm does go down. And now that Panda, once again, very low on HP. And we're going to see that the Knights just coming in. Kind of utter complete dominance at this point, really, in terms of army control from yAwS. His army just very powerful. Level 6 on that Mountain King now, halfway through level 6 even. Level 5 on that Paladin, halfway through level 5, and yeah, it's going to be really difficult. We're going to see a cloud stopping these towers from attacking. Ooh, that's a little bit frustrating, but again, from the point of view of the undead, right? But, you know, it's nicely done from yAwS nonetheless, absolutely. I definitely think it's safe to call him the winner at this point. He's just really steamrolling over this expansion, and this is the last bit that Cechi has to defend himself. I mean, again, once again, he could pull it out. I don't know. But I'm just going to say it's unlikely. And actually, he goes ahead and kills the Mountain King. So as to get rid of that Paladin. And of course, he can tavern revive the Mountain King. He's probably going to here in a moment. There it is. But it's trying to take out these siege engines. Can't take him out fast enough. The gold mine does go down. The Lich now kind of surrounded? I'm not sure if that's a surround or not. I can't tell. It might be. Oh, sorry, it might be. We're going to see a coil being used onto that Lich. Lich has no way out at this point. He should have maybe passed the TP, but I'm not sure it would have really mattered. Oh, never mind. Take that back. He's going to go ahead and get another coil off, and yeah. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not wrong, I mean. Maybe I'm not wrong at all. We do see another coil being used onto this Lich. Trying his best just to get this every second. Oh. Well, you know, so obviously Cechi slightly frustrated in that game. You know, I wouldn't worry about what he said. Just a little frustrated. And I'm sure he didn't know that was yAwS. But at any rate, So there you have it. That was a long game. It was a fairly interesting game, and of course very frustrating for the undead to play, but yAwS did do a really good job. He split his tanks and his army focused when he should, and that allowed him to take back map control despite being a lower food count. But of course yAwS had to be lower food count. He had to play for the long game, the long haul, and he did do so, and so that was the game, and he won. And hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. And there will be more games coming in from the W3 Arena ladder, because of course a lot of good players are playing there and a lot of good games are being played, and as I get them I will cast them because they're really nice games. And so I will see you guys next time. But one more thing before I leave. Actually, I will say again, sorry about the whole not getting the daily upload things, but that should be resolved hopefully from here on out. Hopefully I keep saying that, but hopefully we'll see. But yes, I will see you guys next time.